Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a TikTok or BookTok Made Me Read It part 2. So I recently did a video with 3 books that were recommended to me by BookTok for the BookTok community, and you guys seem to really like that video, so this is part 2 with 3 more books that BookTok seems to really like in the mystery, cozy mystery genre. So we're gonna go and hop into those 3. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Amy and I do lots of mystery content, book content in general, but especially mystery content on this channel, so I hope you hit subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump into the first book. Okay, so our first recommendation is by a TikToker named Betty's Page, and this book, the book that she recommended for this is Murder by Page 1, a Peach Coast library mystery. This is by Olivia Matthews, and this is actually published through the Hallmark Publishing Company, which I found super interesting because I actually worked in a Hallmark retail location, selling cards and stationery and stuff for a while, and I just love Hallmark in general, so I was really interested in that. But let's go and watch her TikTok really quick.
Out. We've got Murder by Page 1, which is a library setting. I'm a sucker for all of the book-related cozy mysteries.
So she recommended this one specifically if you like bookish, like library setting, which I absolutely do. And it's funny, she actually mentions another book that we will be talking about later that another person recommended, so it's definitely a popular one on TikTok and on YouTube, I think, as well. But anyways, I had never heard of Olivia Matthews. I had not read anything by this author. This is the first in the series, and I was pretty intrigued because, again, a bookish cozy mystery. Basically, the main character, her name is Marvy. She's moved from Brooklyn to a small town, Peach Coast, in Georgia. She's a transplant from the northeast down to the south, which is quite a culture shock for her, and she's working as a library events organizer in the area, and one of her best friends in the area also has a bookshop. She also has this interesting hobby where she creates, I don't know, I feel like I've seen something like this, but she makes these antique necklaces. She takes them and puts a picture of a cover of a book in it and kind of crafts it. I think I'm kind of picturing almost like a snow globe where you can see the cover of the book, but it's on a necklace. That was kind of what my impression was, and I thought that was kind of cool. But her friend runs this bookshop, and she's over there helping prepare for an event with an author when a dead body is discovered in the bookshop, which her friend is immediately under scrutiny. I will say the police were annoyingly obtuse. I mean, they were so focused on her friend, the bookshop owner, when there were so many people in that shop for the author event. There were other employees. They were just so focused in on the bookshop owner, and I don't know why. Of course it is her place. I know she would be a primary suspect, but they were so intently focused on her. So Marvy and her friend Spence, who's kind of I think they described him there as kind of a philanthropic, Bruce Wayne type guy. I'm gonna come out right here with this. This is my thoughts on this book. The premise was fine. Everything I just described, all that pretty classic cozy mystery setup, nothing super interesting, but I like cozy mysteries, so I'm down for it, especially the book themed elements. I just found the characters to be boring. There just wasn't a lot of there wasn't anything memorable about this book to me. I did finish it, and it was cozy, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't dislike the book, but I don't plan on reading more in this series. It just was okay for me. I mean, if you enjoy this book, power to you. I always love to hear your opinions on the books I'm talking about, whether we agree or disagree. I'd love to hear your opinion as always, but for me, I just found the characters to be kind of one note. They were just a little flat for me. I didn't really get attached to them at all. It just felt like something was missing for me. I really tried. I did enjoy it. The setting was very charming. I did enjoy a lot of the cultural elements because I've never personally been to the South, I guess East, I know we just call it the South in the US, but the Southeast area of America, and I liked the cultural elements, how Marvy would keep kind of rushing right into the point in a conversation, but the southern people around her were more easing into conversation, would to just have more small talk, and she would always be head first into it, which would sometimes backfire for her because she would end up coming across as maybe kind of rude or pushy, when for her that was kind of like a normal thing, like culturally, where she grew up in Brooklyn. But so I found some of the elements really interesting, like her hobby with the crafting, with the necklaces, the accent stuff, the different like mannerisms and things that she encountered. I found that to be really interesting, but I just didn't really care a whole lot about most of the characters. I wish I did. Like, I thought there was a lot of good things about this book where it could have been really good, but it just kind of slipped through the cracks. So I think I gave this like a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I don't regret reading it, but it just wasn't anything that I'm like excited for, that I plan on reading more of, really. Yeah, I don't know. I feel sad. Like, I really, really wanted to like this. Okay, so the next book I was very excited about. This one was actually mentioned in the first TikTok by Betty's page, which was Arsenic and Adobo, as well as the next one that we're going to be watching from Stacy here. And she mentioned Arsenic and Adobo, which I snatched up the opportunity to read because, one, it was in the other TikTok that recommended Murder by Page 1, and then it was also actually on my 2022 TBR, like a book that I've been putting off, and I know I would really, I just felt like I'd really enjoy it. And so I finally got it from my library. Very excited. This is, FYI, this is just covering the town that I live in. But here, let's go and watch the TikTok. So her TikTok's quite long, so I'm going to kind of, because she recommends and goes through thorough reviews of a couple books, I'm going to just fast forward to the part with this book.
I think to start is just the cover, and just the tone is set. This book is about an ex-boyfriend of the main character who dies while eating at her family's restaurant, and there's an investigation to figure out why he died and who is the murderer. This book, again, is so heavily invested in family and the rich community and friendships. I love the main character. I think she's really sweet and funny, but still fiery. I loved the writing style. I found it very approachable. But I read the first page and I got it. Like, I understood the vibe of the book. I was in the story. I got it. And I love that. I love books where you can pick them up and immediately know the world you're in. And that was this book. Not to mention just beautiful descriptions of food. Please read these books.
Okay, so she has the most lovely personality, the way she presents these books. I love it. But anyways, this is again Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. It's a Tita Rosie's kitchen mystery, and this was a delightful read. I loved this. This was a 5-star read for me. I flew through this. It's one of the best cozy mysteries I've read this year, and I've read probably over 20 cozy mysteries this year. So I've read a lot of mysteries this year already. So this was an amazing book. Our main character's name is Leela. But anyways, she has just had a horrible breakup, like many cozy mystery first books. She's moved back home and she is living with family and trying to help her Tita Rosie's save her failing restaurant, so there's a lot going on in this book. I really love the family connection and community in this book. That's one of the best parts of this book. Leela is a very fleshed out, fun, realistic character. She's got her ups and downs. She's just an interesting person to read about. Also, the cover, as Stacy pointed out, is really adorable. There's a little dachshund here. How adorable. But I really love this. Essentially, the basic premise of this is that she's working one day at her family's restaurant. She's Filipino, so it's a Philippine restaurant. Delicious food. I really want to try more food from the Philippine culture. It sounds really delicious. This definitely gave me a bit more of a hankering to try more of that. But she's working at her family's restaurant, and her ex-boyfriend from high school comes in with, I believe it's his stepfather. And they're seated and they're eating, and her ex-boyfriend is actually a food critic who's been going around town and just ripping all the restaurants in the area, including her aunt's restaurant, just ripping them apart online, and he is just devouring their food. He's clearly enjoying it, but she just knows this is going to be yet another negative review, and she's kind of, razzing him a bit, they're kind of getting into it just a little bit when he ends up dying right there in the restaurant. So immediately the place is closed down as a crime scene, and this is really bad news for her aunt and her aunt's restaurant, because they were already financially doing very like poorly, like they were living like very much like paycheck to paycheck, barely keeping the restaurant open, and the landlord was also kind of looking for a way to get them out of the building so that they could sell it or reuse it for something else. And so her aunt is just crushed. On top of that, the police are immediately suspect of Leela because of her connection with the victim, who it does turn out that the victim was like poisoned, and of course she had the means. She was right there, she was like their waitress, and she has this past like poor, like, you know, not very happy romantic relationship that she had with him, and of course he's also hassling her family, so there's a lot of reasons that she could have a motive to hurt him. Obviously, you know, she didn't. So she goes about trying to solve this mystery. I really like this. I think it's a very, it combines a lot of things and it does it really well. It has just enough of some like real, how do you say? It's still definitely a cozy mystery, but it definitely does touch on some issues such as like racism and things that Leela experiences as she goes about trying to clear her family's name. There's also a lot of like a really enjoyable relationships that develop along the way with herself, her best friend, different people they meet and encounter. Her family is delightful. They're very realistic. You know, you have like the well-meaning but kind of in your face family members. You have the people who you know, are constantly asking you about your love life or something like that, and since she's single, they're all trying to like set her up. And so it's just there's so many layers of like flavor and depth to this. It's a really great read. I would strongly recommend it. I actually already have the second one on hold ready to pick up at my library, which I'll be doing tomorrow, and I'm very excited about. So yeah, I loved this book. The second one is out. The third one has not come out yet, to my knowledge. So this one I would definitely recommend. Her dachshund is named Longanisa, which I just love. I also found it interesting because Leela, she's moved back here, and there's a lot of conflict between her past self and how she remembers people and how they are now, because she's just recently moved back. And I thought it was very interesting the way the author explored this. I also had no clue who did this. Like, I mean, I had a guess, but I was completely wrong personally. And when the reveal was made, I was just sitting there like it was very well done. The mystery was crafted really well. The person who did it, the motive, the clues, everything was really well laid out. It was a fantastic mystery. The characters were fantastic. The family, the setting, everything about this I loved. Like, I honestly, like, if you asked me what would you want to improve about this, I would have to sit here and really nitpick to try to figure out something to tell you, because I loved it so much. Like, there really just wasn't much that I could say that I didn't like about this. So this was a very refreshing, amazing debut cozy mystery. I would very much recommend it. So our third one is actually Caramel Pecan Roll Murder, a Hannah Swenson mystery with recipe by Joanne Fluke, which is a very popular cozy mystery series. They actually have, I think, a TV show on Netflix, like Murder She Baked, I think. I haven't watched it. I'm not too big on, I don't watch a lot of TV. I like cartoons more than anything if I watch TV, but I know it's a pretty popular series, and I believe I had read one of these a while ago and I wasn't the biggest fan, but I hadn't read this one. It's a newer one in the series, so I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's go and watch the TikTok really quick where it's recommended. So this was by Between the Chapters, and the caption says, "The Queen of Culinary Mysteries has done it again." And so she shares her experience actually making one of the recipes in this book, which this looks delicious. Would you guys ever want to see a baking video with me doing like a cozy mystery baking? Because I love to bake, so just putting that out there. But she shows herself putting that together, and obviously she really enjoys the recipe. She makes the chocolate peanut butter whippersnapper cookies, which, what a great name. Love it. Okay, anyways, so getting to the book. So this is, like I said, the Hannah Swenson mystery with recipes by Joanne Fluke, and essentially we have our main character Hannah, who works at the cookie jar, and she is a baker. And Hannah actually gets asked by a local lodge who's doing like a fishing competition to provide baked goods. So her and her sister go out there to bake for the competition when the like TV host fishing star guy ends up dying. I I really, really tried, guys. I did. I had to DNF this. Just like the first video, I had one I DNF'd in that as well. I couldn't make myself finish this. I, absolutely no, if you enjoyed this, I'm so glad you did. I couldn't get through this. I really tried. I just felt like the writing felt very like hollow to me. Like the characters were very flat. Like there wasn't a lot of life. Everything, like the dialogue felt very awkward to me. Like it didn't feel like, sometimes cozy mysteries can be a little over the top with their puns or their like quirky over the top like reactions to things, but this, like, it just felt really flat. Like the characters didn't feel like they cared about a lot. Like it felt very dull and uninteresting. Even the descriptions here, like I'm looking at the end of this chapter and it's describing her creating cookies, which I personally love to read in cozy mysteries when they're describing whatever the main character does for a living, whether it's baking cookies or, stacking books, whatever they're doing. But it just, like, the way it's described, it's just like it feels like I'm watching grass grow. I just wasn't personally pulled in by the prose or the way it was written. Everyone of course has their own style of writing and what they enjoy reading, but this just wasn't it for me. I kind of, when I saw this was a recommendation on TikTok, I wanted to honor the challenge and try it. I had read, I thought, one book from the series maybe like a couple years ago, but it's been so long that I was like, let me give it a try because it's a very popular series. I didn't really remember a lot about it, so I was like, let me give it a try, but I stand by it. I just don't think I'm a big fan of this series. I really only got through the first like 100 pages, which the book's it's like 300 pages, so I got through about a third of it before I couldn't do it. So it wasn't it for me. I also have to say this is gonna sound like a little nitpicky perhaps, but unlike a lot of other cozy mysteries, the recipes were in the middle of the book, so you'd go from like a chapter, like normal, the book, and then it would go to recipe, and then you go to the next chapter, and that personally just kept driving me crazy because it was like after almost every chapter. So a lot of times with mysteries, when I'm enjoying them, I'll be flipping through and I'll be like, okay, this is the last chapter, but then I'll take a glance at the beginning of the next chapter and then I'll keep reading it because I get really excited. So having the recipes kind of break up the chapters really kept disrupting the flow for me, which is really, I know that's like a very small problem in the long run, and that wasn't the reason I DNF'd it. It just was like another thing that just kind of started to drive me crazy. So I didn't care about the characters. They were really flat. Like I said, the dialogue felt awkward to me. The descriptions felt very like stiff and just like someone describing grass growing. Like it really, and we're talking, she was describing bacon cookies, which to me is a very fun, I want to hear, like, give me all the details about the chocolate oozing over the cookies or whatever. I didn't enjoy it. I really wish I did. So that is a roundup of my 3 BookTok reviews. Let me know if you have any favorite BookTokers, or if you want me to do this video with more TikTok videos or bookstagrammers or booktubers or like anything else. Let me know if you want me to try like, another challenge where I read 3 books from insert, whatever social platform or YouTuber or something like that. If you have ideas, I'd love to hear them down below. I wish that more of these were good. The first time around I had 2 that I ended up really liking out of the 3. This time around I had 1 I DNF'd, did not like at all. 1 that was so. I mean, it was okay, but I'm not going to be going back for more, most certainly. And then 1 I just like loved. So I am, it's good to try new things. I don't know. I'm always on the lookout for my next series. So let me know if you have any recommendations. I always love hearing your guys' thoughts on these. If you've read these, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them because, everyone's got their own opinions, and I love hearing what other people think of the same things that I've read, because it's interesting to see how people, interpret things or what people like and don't like about certain books. And I hope you guys will hit subscribe. I do upload mystery videos and book content every single week on my channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!